So here you are, sitting in the dark, convinced that silence is your secret weapon. You think it's control, it's power. You tell yourself it'll haunt them, keep them up at night, tormented by memories of what they lost. But let me shatter that illusion right now. Silence isn't power if you're still chained to their memory. It's not strength when you're stalking their profile, waiting for a crumb of attention, a sign, a spark of regret. I see right through you. You're pretending you've moved on while your heart still plays their highlight reel on repeat. You call it healing, but deep down, it's a waiting game. You're hoping your absence will scream so loud that they'll wake up one morning, realize they lost you, and come running back with apologies dripping from their lips. But let me hit you with the truth. They're not coming. They're not pacing the floor. They're not staring at the ceiling, wondering where you went. They've filed you away like an old keepsake labeled "use when needed." They've studied you. They know your patterns like a hunter knows its prey. And guess what? Your silence doesn't confuse them. It reassures them. It lets them win. You think you're teaching them a lesson? You're not. You're giving them a free pass. You're not a ghost haunting their memory. You're a prisoner in your own mind. So let me ask you, how long are you going to sit there locked in a cage you built with your own silence? How long will you suffocate under the weight of words unsaid, of feelings buried alive? You think if you stay quiet long enough they'll regret everything and crawl back? Wake up. Silence only works on people who care. And deep down, you already know they don't. You've felt it. In those lonely nights, staring at your phone, waiting for a text that never came. They've used you like a puppet, pulling your strings when it suited them, tossing you aside when the show no longer entertained them, and there you sat, tangled in the wires of hope, thinking silence would teach them a lesson. A lesson. They wrote the book on this game. You were just another chapter they skimmed, another side story they left unfinished. Your silence. It's background noise to them, an empty space they don't even notice because you were never the main character in their story. And the worst part? You knew it. You always knew it. But you clung to hope like a drowning soul reaching for air, believing that maybe, just maybe, your absence would shake them awake. Here's the truth you need to hear. They don't feel anything. They've mastered the art of moving on while leaving you spinning in their web. They're not haunted by your silence. They're empowered by it. Because they know you'll be back. You've done it before. They've seen your silence, survived it, and outlasted it. And what about you? You're still sitting there, waiting for someone who never cared. So I'm asking you, when does it end? When do you stop lying to yourself? When do you cut the strings, step off their stage, and burn the whole damn theater down? When do you stop being the puppet and take back your life? Listen carefully. They don't deserve your silence. They don't deserve your attention. They don't deserve another second of your soul. Say it with me right now, out loud. I am not a puppet. Let this be your moment. Drop that affirmation in the comments. Declare your worth. Write it. Claim it. I am not a puppet. And while you're at it, press that like button if this hit you where it needed to. If it shook something deep inside you. If it reminded you of the power you buried for too long. Subscribe if you're ready to rise, ready to take control, ready to become unshakable. The puppet show is over. But for you, this is just the beginning. Let's rewrite your story together. Number 1, the puppet show they're running. Have you ever seen a spider trap a fly? The fly struggles, believing it can escape. It twists, turns, and fights, but the more it moves, the tighter it gets stuck. All the while, the spider waits, silent, patient, deadly, knowing the fly has no chance. That's exactly what they're doing to you. You're caught in their web, tangled in their strings, convinced you're making a powerful move by staying silent. You think pulling away will make them miss you, regret losing you, or feel something. But here's the truth. They've seen it all before. Your silence doesn't confuse them. They expected it. You believe you're unpredictable, mysterious, a puzzle they can't solve, but they've already figured you out. You've played this game with them so many times that they know your next move before you even make it. Your silence isn't power, it's pain. They know you're sitting there waiting, hoping and hurting. They aren't wondering where you went. They're counting the moments until you come crawling back. And they know you will, because you always do. Your silence isn't a weapon, it's surrender dressed up as strength. You think you're punishing them, making them suffer. But while you sit there overthinking every second, tearing yourself apart, they're living their life, carefree, unbothered, and probably lining up their next target. People like them don't value what they have. They only value what they might lose control over. And as long as you're stuck in that silence, waiting for them to notice, they still have control. They've turned you into a character in their twisted puppet show. They know how far you'll go before you break, how long your silence will last before you cave, and how much you'll endure before you run back for crumbs. They've studied you. You're not unpredictable. You're reliable. You've become entertainment in their game, manipulated, discarded, reeled back in when it suits them. You think your silence confuses them? It doesn't. It amuses them. They're smirking from the sidelines, watching as you fight a war they've already won. They're not losing sleep. They're waiting for you to fold. You're not a mystery to them, not a riddle they can't solve. You're the same predictable puzzle they've mastered time and time again. But listen to me. You can still change the game. You can shock them, flip the table, and leave them powerless. Not with silence, but with indifference, with freedom, by walking away and never looking back. You think you need closure, a final word, some big moment where they recognize your worth. But you don't. They'll never give you closure, not because they can't, but because they won't. Closure isn't something they give, it's something you take. Say this out loud. I am not a puppet, I am not predictable, I am free. Now, write it in the comments. Declare it, own it. Break the cycle right here, right now. If this message hit you where it needed to, hit that like button and share this with someone still tangled in those strings. Subscribe if you're ready to rise, because we're just getting started. What comes next will change everything. Stay with me. 2. Screaming in a vacuum. Imagine standing alone in a field, screaming your lungs out, only to hear nothing. That's what you're doing with your silence. You're hoping they'll notice your absence, but they won't. They've tuned you out with emotional noise-canceling headphones. Your silence isn't punishment to them. It's background noise. People like them don't listen unless it benefits them. You're pouring emotion into a void, expecting an echo, but they don't care. Not because they don't notice, but because they choose not to. The only way to win. Stop playing. Stop waiting for a reaction that'll never come. Take off your emotional headphones and listen to the voice that matters, yours. Say it. I'm done screaming into the void. Write it in the comments. Claim it. You deserve better. 3. You're not a doormat. Ever seen a doormat after people wipe their muddy shoes, used, dirty and ignored? That's how they've been treating you. They drag their mess into your life, stomp all over your feelings, and leave you waiting for them to care. But they won't. Being a doormat doesn't make people stay. It makes them comfortable leaving. You think patience and kindness will change them, but without boundaries, kindness becomes self-sabotage. They don't respect you because you let them use you. Here's the truth. You are not a doormat. Stand up, brush off the dirt, and lock the door they keep walking through. Stop being a place for them to land when life gets rough. Let them fall. Say it out loud. I am not a doormat. Write it in the comments. Declare it. From this moment on, claim your worth. This isn't about revenge. It's about rising so high they can't even reach you. What comes next will wake you up. Stay with me. Number 4. They're playing chess while you're still setting up the board. You think you're being smart, carefully planning your next move, using silence like it's your greatest weapon. But while you're still organizing your pieces, they're already playing chess. They've studied you, your habits, your emotional triggers, and the moves they know you'll make. You're sitting there, convinced you have the upper hand, but they've already won a game you didn't even realize you were playing. This isn't some innocent misunderstanding. They're experts at this game, and you're just the latest participant in their rigged tournament. They push you away, pull you back, make you feel wanted just enough to keep you hooked, then disappear again like it's all part of their strategy. And here you are, still believing they care. You replay every word, every moment, trying to figure out how to win them back or make them miss you. But while you're lost in your thoughts, they've already moved on to their next target. Someone else's trust, someone else's turn to lose. You think your silence makes you unpredictable. They've already planned for it. They know when you'll crack, when you'll reach out, and when you'll break your own rules. You're reacting while they're strategizing. You're trying to play fair in a game that was never fair to begin with. They're not emotionally involved. They're emotionally calculated. And the cruel truth? They're not playing to win you back. They're playing to win control. The moment you let yourself hope or care, they've already won. So what will you do? Sit there, arranging your pieces, waiting for the perfect move? Or will you flip the board, leave the game, and reclaim your power? Say it out loud. I'm done playing their game. Write it in the comments. Declare it. Let them find someone else to manipulate, because you're no longer just a piece on their board. You are the whole game. Number 5. You can't win a war by dropping your sword. Here's the truth. You can't fight for your worth while standing there unarmed, defenseless, and hoping for mercy from someone who's already decided you're disposable. Yet, that's exactly what you've been doing. You've laid down your sword in the name of love, patience, and understanding. You believe that being soft, forgiving, and silent will make them see your value. But they don't respect surrender. They never have. They only respect strength. You thought walking away in silence was your weapon, but silence without self-worth isn't power, it's submission. It's like putting your sword down in the middle of a battle, hoping your enemy will stop attacking. They didn't stop because you were kind. They didn't change because you were patient. They didn't care because you loved harder. They took what they wanted and left. And while you're sitting there, waiting for them to feel guilty, they're living their lives unbothered. You're still on the battlefield, wounded and weaponless, waiting for apologies and explanations that will never come. Here's the real battle. You're not fighting them. You're fighting the part of yourself that keeps surrendering your power, hoping they'll change if you just wait long enough. But wars aren't won with hope. Wars are won with strength, action, and boundaries. You can't win by being the only one who cares. You can't win by begging for respect, because respect isn't given, it's demanded. They know you're still holding on, still waiting, still hoping. That's why they don't care. You've dropped your sword, and they know you won't pick it up. But what if you did? What if you stopped waiting, stopped hoping, and decided you were done surrendering? Pick up your sword, not to fight them, but to protect yourself, your peace, and your future. Say this out loud. I will never lay down my sword again. Write it in the comments, claim it, declare it. Stand your ground, because you are no victim, you are a warrior. It's time to fight back. Number 6. You're renting space in their world while they live rent-free in your head. Think about this. You're spending every day paying the steep price of your peace. You overthink, obsess, replay conversations, and analyze every little thing they said or did. You're stuck living in the past while they've moved on, unbothered, and living like you never existed. You're paying emotional rent with your time, energy, and sanity while they occupy your mind for free. No effort, no consequences, just there, haunting your thoughts, consuming your days. And what do you get in return? Nothing. Not a fraction of the attention or care you're giving them. You're holding on to memories of what could have been while they've already replaced you. You're stuck in their world, but only in your head. You think they're thinking about you, wondering how you're doing. They're not. They've moved on, and the longer you let them live in your mind, the more power you give them. You've built them a luxury space in your head, furnished with your pain, your attention, and your hope, while they don't even realize or care. You're holding on to someone who let you go without a second thought. Why? Why are you giving space to someone who didn't earn it? Why are you paying the price for someone who left? It's time to evict them. Cancel the lease. Throw out their memories like the garbage they left behind. Pack up the false hope, the what-ifs, and burn it all down. They don't deserve another moment of your life. Your peace is far too valuable to be given away for free. Say it out loud. I'm done giving free space to those who don't deserve me. Write it in the comments. Declare it. Take back your mind, your energy, and your power, because they've taken enough. It's time to make room for self-respect, healing, and peace, because that's all that belongs there now. Number 7, don't just burn the bridge, blow up the whole damn road. You've been told to burn the bridge and walk away, but let's be honest, burning the bridge isn't enough. Blow up the entire road, because people like them always find their way back. They crawl through cracks, slip through back doors, and sneak down paths you thought you'd closed forever. They rely on your weak spots, your maybe one last time. And I'll just hear them out. They know exactly how to get back in. Burning the bridge only makes the path harder, not impossible. People like them have taken that route to your heart so many times, they could do it blindfolded. If you leave even the smallest trace behind, they'll find a way in. You've seen it before, haven't you? You blocked their number, ignored their messages, cut them off completely. But somehow they reappeared, weeks later, months later, with that "I miss you" text, or that casual "Hey, how have you been?" And just like that, you were back where you started. Why? Because burning the bridge wasn't enough. The bridge was only one way in. People like that are resourceful. If you don't destroy the entire road, they'll build a new one. They'll show up unannounced, acting like nothing happened, pretending they've changed. But you know better. You've lived this cycle. You've given chance after chance, only to end up broken again. It's time to stop being a rest stop for their return. Stop leaving cracks open. Stop hoping they'll come back with sincerity and love. They won't. People like that don't change. They just adapt. They learn how to manipulate you better, how to break through the walls you think are unbreakable. They don't care about fixing the past. They care about reclaiming control. So what do? You blow up the road. You level the ground and salt the earth so nothing can grow back. Not regret, not hope, not second chances. Make it impossible for them to return, even if they tried. No calls, no texts, no explanations. Just silence. Not as a game, but as a final decision. No unfinished business, no waiting for closure, no reopening old wounds. Burn it all down and walk away like it never existed. By the time they notice, it'll be too late. The road will be gone, the bridge reduced to ashes, and you'll be too far ahead to hear them call your name. Say this out loud. I'm done rebuilding bridges for people who burned me. Write it in the comments. Claim it. Declare it. Blow up the whole damn road, because you're never going back. Number 8. You're the phoenix. Rise. Don't apologize. Think of shattered glass, thousands of sharp, broken pieces scattered across the floor. Most people would see it as useless, something to throw away. But what if that glass didn't stay broken? What if it melted in the fire, reshaped itself, and came back stronger and sharper than before? That's you. You're not meant to stay broken. You're not disposable. You're the phoenix, the one who rises from the ashes, not as who you were, but as something stronger and unrecognizable. I know what you're thinking. I'm too hurt, too broken, too damaged. But you're not broken. You've been transformed. The people who tried to shatter you didn't destroy you. They remade you. Every betrayal, every lie, every empty promise, that was fuel. You haven't just survived. You've been quietly forging fire this whole time. You think they won because they left you in pieces. Let me tell you something. Fire doesn't ask permission to burn. And when you rise, you won't be the same soft-hearted version of yourself they thought they could manipulate. You'll be stronger, sharper, and untouchable. There's a story I read about a woman whose long-term partner cheated on her, left her in debt, and took everything. She lost her home, her friends, and hit rock bottom. Everyone told her she was too much, too emotional, too hard to love. You know what she did? She went silent, not as a weapon, but as a reset. She worked 3 jobs, paid off every debt, and rebuilt her life from nothing. 2 years later, she ran into him, and he didn't even recognize her. Not just because she looked different, but because she was different. She was untouchable. That's what rising looks like. It's not about proving yourself to them. It's not about winning them back. It's about becoming so powerful they can't even recognize the version of you they once discarded. You're not their victim. You're their wake-up call. And I know what you're wondering. What if they come back? What if they've changed? Let me be blunt. They won't change. If they come back, it's not because they're sorry. It's because they're losing control. People like that don't regret hurting you. They regret losing access to you. They don't miss who you are. They miss what you did for them. The comfort, the attention, the power. You think they'll wake up one day and realize they shouldn't have treated you that way. They won't. They only come back when they realize no one else will tolerate their behavior the way you did. That's when they crawl back. But by then, you won't be the same person anymore. They'll try their tricks, the fake promises, the sweet apologies. But fire remembers. It remembers every lie, every tear, every sleepless night. They expect you to stay soft, to wait, to forgive. But they're not ready for the version of you that rises, the unapologetic, unstoppable force you've become. You're not the same person they hurt. That version of you died in the fire, and from the ashes, you were reborn. Nikita Gill said it best. They broke the wrong parts of me. They broke my wings, but forgot I had claws. Yes, you may have lost your softness, but you gained something far greater. Power. You no longer ask for respect. You demand it. You're not waiting for anyone to choose you. You've already chosen yourself. You're not looking back, hoping they'll miss you. You've burned everything behind you, so there's nothing left to return to. People think rising means healing quietly, being graceful, and never making noise. Forget that. Rise loudly, rise fiercely, rise unapologetically. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you rebuild yourself. You don't need to justify your strength to people who only benefited from your weakness. You are the phoenix. You don't rise for them, you rise for you. Say this out loud. I rise unapologetically. Write it in the comments. Declare it. Own it. Let them wonder what happened to the version of you they thought they broke. They'll never see you coming.